Why do so many modern metal bands seemingly sound the same? Well, there's a good reason for that, and this is not because producers are lazy. I have a theory about that, I've experienced it in my career, and I'm gonna share these ideas with you in this video here. In my understanding, this comes down to budget limitations in the metal world and the natural evolution of the production techniques that all of us are using to mix bands. But here's the thing, you can still stand out with your unique sound by applying those same techniques if you're intentional about your choices. In this video, I'm going to show you how using the same tools differently can give your mix its own unique character. And to prove it, I will A/B two versions of a mix that we did for a band called 89 Deep. One that sounds similar to what is popular in modern metal niche, and another one that is completely unique, and that's what the band went for. And now let's listen to the final mix. This mix is so much more fun to listen to, it has more energy, more bounce and better vibe to what the band is after. Go check out 89 Deep. We've had a bit of a process and a bit of an evolution of the vision throughout the mixing stages, which was developing throughout 1 year of our work together. And I believe that we've achieved something very cool and fun, and the band was stoked about it. So let's dive into it. Watch until the end of this video to find out these audio examples, and let's go! Hey, I'm Dr. Mike Trubetskov, and I'm here to bring valuable information on recording, producing and mixing metal. So mate, please like and subscribe to not miss out valuable stuff and let the word out. Let's go! Here is the deal. What is going on in the metal world? And for those of you who are musicians in metal, probably most of my viewers, you understand this too well. We have super small budgets, because bands do not make much, if anything, with their music. Live gigs, maybe you can make something at most, and that money is getting into production, video, marketing. That's it. Records don't sell. You don't make any money on streams these days. This is the unfortunate reality that we live in, and we have to adapt. So what happens next? When bands work with very limited budgets, they hire out producers who therefore have to work fast, because if they're full-time producers like myself, they have to pay their bills, they have to make this work. With shrinking budgets, they have to fit in more work in, and therefore they have to become very efficient. That's an easy pit to fall into. When you're moving quickly, you reach for the things that just work from your experience, and these are your pre-processed chains, such as guitar amp sim IR combination with an EQ, compression and such. A chain that works and sums your guitars up in a way that they sound neat. Similarly, drum samples, kick, snare, tom chains. These are full pre-built chains with samples, compression, EQ, saturation, which work well for the records. But guess what? They sound the same. And so the snowball effect happens when these techniques, which are not bad on their own, in separation, are being combined and especially being reinforced by the common knowledge that you discover here on YouTube, on different channels, and you learn about the common ways to, say, gate your snare drum, or get rid of bleed, or compress your low end of your guitars with a multiband compression. It's a very well-known trick which everyone is using, myself included, but This can change the tone of your music. The EQ curves, especially the notches, introduce comp filtering, which changes the tone of your guitars. And if you go overboard and if you combine all these techniques together, guess what? Your mixes can start sounding the same. Speaking about the antidote to this illness. So, producers do need to work fast. I have to work fast. But instead of dropping those chains into your mix and calling it a day, you can start by tweaking those chains and finding the different elements that can saturate your sound in a way that is fitting this exact band and this exact vision, not just your generic template approach. Same goes for drum samples. Instead of stacking some presets from your favorite drum libraries, go ahead and analyze the record, take a listen to it, and try to find the character of your kick or snare drum, build it in your head first, and then put it onto stacking the samples that you like, rebalancing their levels, and then EQing and compressing them. You can keep some elements of the chain intact, such as dynamics, maybe clipping, maybe limiting. It can work out in your favor, but tonally, you can change it still when you are intentional about the song, when you hear it, analyze it, and then adjust accordingly. And still, this helps to be efficient and staying on top of your game. Let me show you exactly what I mean by comparing the two versions of the same track. One was mixed by using Get Good Drums, guitar DIs and guitar amp sims everyone is using, and Gene Bass with some commonly used techniques as well. And this other version goes with the same library of Get Good Drums, the same source tones, but no DI processing, no sampling, and a very different approach to the mix, sculpting each channel individually the way the track calls for, which is more like 2000s new metal Limp Bizkit style of mix rather than a modern pushed metalcore. This is one of the first mixes that I did for this band, and at the time we liked the direction, but over time we decided that this is not authentic enough. Take a listen. So to me, this still does not exactly sound like a cookie-cutter metalcore mix that you are so familiar with, but definitely has the elements for it to be this. And I will show you the key elements that can contribute to this. Starting with drums. Let's take a listen to the drums without the added kick and snare samples. Now, with kick and snare samples, you can see that I have a layer of 5 kick samples and 4 snare samples. I think that these samples add a lot of weight to the drums, but they definitely do polish the sound up and bring it to a more neutral, sterilized territory, which we're all familiar with. Let me just quickly go through this so that I can really explain the process with those chains. So, for instance, this here is a room sample, which I'm using my custom kick sample, which I captured on one of the sessions I recorded for, and then a Trigger 2 Deluxe library, processed with Pro Q, processed with LA2A Limited, processed with Saturn. These are the tricks that you learn from Nail the Mix YouTube and such. These are commonly used techniques which are very easy to get lost in. And the thing is, if you add this specific chain, which you can save as a preset, to a different project, bring that in, and it can immediately add what was missing, the width and the stereo spread of a kick room sample, at a cost of sounding similar to the rest of the productions if you do not tweak this from scratch. Similarly, if we look into the guitars now, we have the main original signals by the band. If the DIs have been provided, you can reamp the signals, which I did with my 5150, and they sounded like this here. Some heavy EQing and some Buster Order Home impulse responses, which are familiar in the industry. And then you can add more layers, like this here. Just the original guitars. And now the guitars with the layers. Again, it does not fully replace the band's tone, but it adds that fullness and depth which isn't present in the original recording, but it changes it. And the third key technique is using EQ and EQ chains, like this here on your presets, and primarily using notches on your guitar bus, which we bypass now. It's a subtle change, but the more notches you add like this, the more comp filtering you have, which impacts your guitar tone. Not only the guitar tone, your cymbals, your bass, your vocals, your kick and snare will also be impacted by heavy EQing, not just surgically fitting into the mix better or worse, but tonally. And this is important, because if you add pre-pros chains, you can enter the tone sucking territory easily. This song was also re-recorded in a different key, which unfortunately doesn't help for our exact comparison, but is close enough. And now let's listen to the final mix, which was approved by the band and sounded much more suitable to them. This mix is so much more fun to listen to. It has more energy, more bounce, and better vibe to what the band is after. Let's get to each element and see what is different about it. For drums, solo them up. Very bouncy, very cool. You can see that all of the samples are scraped and gone, nothing, just the source kick and snare sounds. The envelope for these sounds became much sharper, less sustained, and that fits the band. This is still a generic Get Good Drums library, which you can very much get sounding like this or different in a different trajectory depending on what you're after. I strive to apply less processing. I scraped a lot of EQing, as you can see in the chain, and I more relied on coloring tools like SSL EQs and my outboard processing as well. Not saying that you need it, but just the approach itself dictated something more laid back and different, and this turned out better. And looking at the guitars now as well, you can see that the guitar bass notches are gone and instead were replaced by much smaller bell curves EQ, which does not introduce this much of comp filtering effect. So this preserves the original tone more and it sounds better in the mix. I hope that showing these production techniques and what this can lead you towards can help you in understanding of tone shaping, understanding on how producers work and how they can change your sound in a way that you like or don't like, and then how you can just start intentionally moving into the direction of the tone that is in your head rather than randomly applying commonly used production techniques to get the commonly used tone and therefore have a tone that doesn't fit the band. I'm Dr. Mark Trubetskov. I really hope that you find this valuable, and I'm sharing more and more information on my newsletter, which you can get by signing up in the link in description. I share some exclusive thoughts, neural amp models, and upcoming courses as well, which I'm very excited about. So please keep up to date, subscribe, and thank you so much for your time watching my video today. I really do appreciate that. Next time you create your song, be intentional about it and rock on!